We call to order this meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees. Everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before us, we have our agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections by fellow board members or department heads at this time? Okay, seeing none, the agenda will stand as presented. First item on the agenda is new business. Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to authorize the trustees, fiscal officer, finance director, administrator, law director, department heads, and I'm adding IT safety director to attend the 2022 OTA Winter Conference on the 26th through the 28th and to follow our travel policy for such.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
And that's the end of new business.
It's going to take us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in an amount of $374,508.10.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize the payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is a resolution to certify the lighting districts established in Plain Township as shown on the attached list for tax year 2021 to the Stark County Auditor for the period of 1 year.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 5 is a resolution to authorize the following transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 6 is the investment report.
Still the stellar rates.
Yeah, it's still pretty low.
Okay.
Fiscal Officer number 7 is a resolution that the amounts and rates is determined by the Budget Commission and certification be in the same or hereby accepted and be it further resolved that there be and is hereby levied on the tax duplicate of Plain Township the rate of each tax necessary to be levied within and without the 10-mil limitation as follows.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Anything on glance through? Anything from your perspective?
No real concerns. It's just the annual certification of the rates.
Okay.
It's got the new
Based upon the new value.
parts levy and all that on there.
No further discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes the fiscal officer report.
Perfect. Takes us to the administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to authorize payment to Kurtz Brothers for the hauling of the yardways.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This is pre 24/7 through year end.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
No further discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. Item number 2 is a resolution pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code to approve the professional consulting and engineering announcement form for the Plain Township Community Amphitheater based on the attached qualifications. Will be posted in the repository 2 times until November 26, 2021 is the closing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item item number 3 is a resolution to enter into an agreement with Planet Technologies for our Office 365.
So moved.
Second discussion. How much have the rates changed on this one we
The
originally?
only reason I put that up this time is because we haven't gotten our official invoice, but I think it's gonna be due by the 30th, so in between meetings. I'm guessing it's gonna be closer to what we paid last year, but I had to put a 10% buffer in there.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 4 is just an announcement that we will be having a special meeting at 12 p.m. on December 7th at the Plain Township Hall to present the scoring of the architects and make a recommendation to the board for the architects for the community amphitheater.
Okay. Concludes the administrator, fire department, chief.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize approval for purchase and payment to Stryker Medical for 4 LifePak CR2AD monitors to be taken from the following fund numbers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This replacement for existing hardware.
Yes, they are basically doing away with the battery support for those units, so they're becoming obsolete and they're going to give us a trade-in on those. So that'll be Diamond, Magnet, Old 4s, and then 105.
No further discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 2 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees that Ryan Brewster has completed his fire medical examination and background check and drug testing and to be hired at 07 hours on October 27th of 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
It's going to take us to the road department. Mr. Neff.
Good evening. Road number 1, be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize payment to Don Parker Sales for additional parts, including labor for the Advantage 75,000 vehicle lift, not to exceed $3,500. This will be divided between both road and fire funds listed below.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road number 2, be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to enter into the work agreement with the homeowners for the final phase of the Linford Storm Sewer Project. Work agreements attached to and made part of these minutes.
I will so move.
I'll second.
Discussion. This is
Yes.
worked out really nice and super smooth, especially on this last phase, so that the neighborhood's got to continue to be super happy, given
Yeah.
the relief they've already gotten, but hopefully
This is the key part. Thank you to those residents also for this.
no further discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Okay, it'll take us to zoning. Tom?
Thank you, sir. There are no abatements this week. We have 2. Item number 1 is resolution to declare items A through E as abatement payments.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that's all for zoning.
Thank you, Tom. Let's see here. Takes us to communications. Lisa?
Thank you. Item number 1 is a letter received from Michael and Tricia Davis that states, "We appreciate the fine services we've received from JP and crew for the repair of our drive and storm sewer." And JP, you'll share that with your team.
Joe's teaching, good.
Right. And then item number 2, I do want to say this letter is actually to Chief Schallenberger and Howard Hirschberger. It reads, "Please accept my enclosed gift in gratitude for the Plain Township Fire and Safety personnel who staffed the COVID clinics at the Whippledale Center last spring to be used however deemed appropriate. As a person with a history of severe reactions to some vaccines, I was greatly assured by the attention and care of the firefighters. on March 20th. Please forgive my delay in making this statement because it is no reflection on the measure of my gratitude, and that's from Mimi Bogart. Nice job.
Nice.
And then the last one, I don't think I need to read, put it on the agenda. It's concerns of neighbors. It's the second time that I've received an anonymous letter in regards to some neighborhood concerns. I do want to point out that the issues that this person brings up of Homedale and 19th Street, Tom has already addressed. The stop sign, it's already been addressed by the road department. Speeding from Lakeside to Broad, I know that Captain Carver has already addressed, and same with the broken down car. The issue is that I have no way, and the board has no way, of addressing an anonymous letter to even give any feedback or say this is how we've addressed it and why, and this is what's ongoing. So I just...
Quite frankly, the resident or whoever the author of this is has been deceitful and dishonest themselves and, you know, saying we haven't.
Yeah, it's all been addressed, every issue.
We haven't followed up. Because when it's anonymous and there's no
one to follow up to.
and we can maybe throw a letter in the mail next time to an anonymous address and see if
If
it
it
works.
helps.
But I mean, that's just the type of lunacy
Yeah.
that,
But I wanted to point out to the board that every issue brought up has been discussed with that specific department head, and there's been action. There's just no way to convey that action. So putting it on the agenda was the only thing that I thought we could do to discuss it.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. I just think that nobody really has to communicate this way
Right?
to get something taken care of.
No.
The problem is, we can't follow up with it now, and every one of these complaints in one way or another has been addressed, and it's just a shame that we don't have the official capacity to get back to this person.
Right.
So this is the only way we can do it.
No, and it's frustrating to the affected department heads because I want you to know they've done their job. And when you get something like this, when they've addressed it and done their job, they want the board to know, listen, we've taken care of this. But there's nothing that they can do. But I promise you, those issues have been taken care of from each department head and the sheriff's office. So, and that's the end of communications.
public speaks, anybody in the audience that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, concerns of trustees,
I have not.
concerns of the fiscal officer?
No concerns.
Takes us to the approval of the minutes for October 12th, 2021, and I will so move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Correct, and there's no need for executive session, so in that spirit, make a motion to adjourn at 6:43.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.